everyone and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to do some more work involving an interesting background and then putting some dragonflies on top of that. So the equipment I'm going to be using today is cling film or shrink wrap or saran wrap or whatever you happen to call it. So this is some shrink wrap that's been used before, so it's all nice and crumpled, and that's what you want to do with it. You want to crumple it up and then straighten it out again, because that gives a much better texture when you do the texturing on your watercolour background. So that's a tip there. And we're going to also use some household salt. This is coarse salt. This is actually sea salt from the coast of Brittany here, sel de Guérande, which I use in cooking, but it's also very good for making textures. It's lovely big chunks of salt that reacts with the water on the paper. And I've got my big mop brush here, my Pro Art mop brush, link in the description below, as also for the paints, Quinacridone Gold, Cobalt Blue and Potter's Pink. I use Schminker, and if you buy these things from Jackson's, you'll find the links below in this video, and you get a special offer when you go to Jackson's from my links. And I also benefit by a small amount of commission, which is very handy, keeps the channel running. At least it will do when we actually get some. So let's get started. Okay, so now I'm going to start working on the background, and I'm bringing in, with my large Pro Art mop brush, I'm just laying in some irregular washes using Quinacridone Gold, Cobalt Blue and a little bit of Potter's Pink, all roughly mixed up together in an imperfect mix, which gives us a nice varied, variegated, irregular background. Just covering the centre part of the paper, leaving some white areas around the outside edges. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to sprinkle in some coarse sea salt into the wet paint, which reacts with the water, sucks up the water and leaves a granular kind of effect on the paint when it's dry. I'm also going to add some fine salt as well, so that I get a variety of different marks, and also spattering in some Quinacridone Gold, which I'm allowing to go over the edges of the centre part into the edges, into the border there. So now I'm going to put in the finer salt. This is just ordinary salt that you use for cooking, just the ordinary Saxo stuff. So that's that, and then on top of that, finally, the last step is to take some cling film, which has been used before, but it wasn't used for wrapping up food. I used this for wrapping up some eggs in an open tray so they didn't get damaged. So it's clean, but it's kind of crinkled up. So I'm just going to pat that down loosely over the top of that wet paint. Don't press it too hard because that spoils the effect. Just dab it down gently so that it touches in some places, and then put that aside until it's completely dry. So the background's completely dry now, and I've brushed all the salt off, and you can see the lovely texture that we've got where the cling film was pressing down on the paint while it was drying. Which gives a very interesting background, something you would find it very hard to create in any other way. So you could put anything on top of here, but I decided today that we would do dragonflies because it's a nice simple topic, a nice simple subject, and it's always very effective. So what I've done is I've just quickly sketched the outline of a dragonfly on a piece of tracing paper, and I'm going to then position it. And I'm going to do 3 of these, so I'm going to play around with the idea of where am I going to put these dragonflies. In fact, am I going to have it horizontal or vertical, or how am I going to do that? I've done some others in the vertical format, so I'm thinking I probably do this sideways on. Now, if you're not terribly confident about drawing, you can download from my website, dianeantone.com. You can download the outline sketches so that you can make this an easier job for yourself. And once you've done that, then you can transfer it onto your paper by scribbling over the back of the download and then tracing on the other side using carbon pencil to put some, basically some carbon on the back. It's graphite, and then you can draw it into position by turning it over and then going over the sketch like this. So I shall do that and then I'll come right back. So there we are, I've got one dragonfly drawn in there, and I don't know about you, but sometimes the design element of this kind of drawing is the problem and you don't want to commit yourself to putting something somewhere and then finding that it's in the wrong place. So this tracing paper idea is a really good one, because you can play around with it and sort of think about where it's going to look best to put the the next one. So and also you might obviously want to make it a little bit smaller if you feel that that's going to be too big, but you can yeah, it's so easy to make a mistake with your positioning, and you might want them to overlap a little bit, and you can just try things out. So I'm thinking I might put another one down here and maybe make the wings overlap into the white of the page, rather like here, rather than having it all over the background. But then I'll have to put another one somewhere in the middle like that. So I think that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably put another one around about there. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've put the third one here, and so now we have 1, 2, 3, one going like that, one going like that, and one going like that. And now the next step is to ink that in. So I'm going to take my liner, pigment liner, Stettler pigment liner, and this is a waterproof black pen, and I'm going to sketch in the outline of these dragonflies. So I think I'll start with the centre, the one in the centre, because that's obviously going to be the one with the most detail. And we've done this before, so I'll probably not show you the whole of the sketching of this, but just indicate how I do it. And if you want to watch the other dragonfly videos, there are a couple of other ones. I think there might be 3 on my channel, which will be linked below, and they will show you in more detail how I do this. And there are different ways of doing this, of course. This I thought would be rather nice on this background. Wasn't sure what to put on the background after I'd done it, actually, but these seem to be a good plan. So you can see the dragonfly emerging. Just put some veins, indicate a few veins in his wings. And so there's number 1. Number 2, I always like to start with the eye, if I remember, and then put in the legs. We don't bother about the other legs, so basically they're out of sight. And just draw the segments. I like to think of those as being like a string of sausages. And the wings. Don't bother too much about the shape of the wings, because you're going to let the watercolour do the work for those. Basically, they're going to be very light and sketchy. So there's number 2. And number 3 down here. Put his 2 forelegs in and his wings. You think of the shape of the dragonfly as a kind of cross, a flattened cross, then that gives you a guide for where the wings lie. That's also in one of the other videos in more detail. So there we are, 3 dragonflies. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do with the pen. When I put some more darks in, I'm going to be using my Karat Aquarelle watercolour pencil, which I quite like because it drops nice dark, strong darks into the watercolour without messing it up. And for the colours, I'm going to stick with the same colours as I had in the background, but I'm going to use them slightly differently. Quinacridone Gold, Cobalt Blue, Potter's Pink, all from Schminke, or indeed Old Holland or Daniel Smith, any one of those, or Winsor and Newton, everybody has those colours. So I'm going to use a large brush, large round, size 11, and I'm just going to spray a tiny bit of water onto my paints just to get them activated and up and running, so to speak. And right, so let's see what we can do here. First thing to do is to look at the wings. I'm going to start with the one in the middle, and I'm going to drop in some Quinacridone Gold to the top edge of the dragonfly, and then add a little bit of blue, cobalt blue, and drop that into the bottom one. And then for this one over here, I'm going to take Potter's Pink and Cobalt Blue to make a kind of mauvey, bluey colour. Very soft. And we're going to just drop that in. And just allow it to spread out a little bit. And then the other one down here. We're going to get a lot of colour from underneath, influencing the way it looks, obviously. And you'll only get the pure colour where there isn't anything underneath. So it's quite nice to emphasise. You add the Quinacridone Gold to the ends there, and you can go over the edges. And just emphasise the backgrounds a little bit. Okay, so then what I'm going to do this time, we'll see how this works, is I'm going to wet the body, and then I'm going to come in with my watercolour pencil and just draw in the body of the dragonfly, allowing that to bleed a little bit. I think that looks okay. Do the same on this one. And then this one down here. So just wet the body, and then drop in your watercolour pencil. If you haven't got a watercolour pencil, you might be able to use any kind of felt tip, I suppose. And then, just to emphasise the shape of the wing, we can go into what's still wet at the top in a few places, just to bring that up stronger. can do that as your taste dictates. You can go over the edge, you don't have to follow the line of the original sketch. Press quite hard, then you get a darker line, obviously. Some nice random possibilities there, but you don't want to overdo it. This is the kind of painting where you can get carried away because you just enjoy putting the ink or the paint rather on. You can get carried away and spoil it because it really doesn't want to have too much. And then if you want to, you can put a little bit of shadow down the side to indicate the three-dimensionality there, so as if the dragonfly is actually sitting on something. I'm adding a little bit of potter's pink there to indicate, or to mix with the quinacridone to give a slightly more orangey hue. Maybe we'll put a bit of quinacridone down here as well, perhaps a bit of pink too. Okay, haven't got that far. Yes, I think he needs a bit more. Like I say, you can do as much or as little as you like with this, whatever suits you. And then we want to do some spatter. So we'll do a big spatter in blue, I think, to add to what was there before. Maybe a little bit of shadow underneath the wing there. And there we are. I'm going to let that dry and we'll see whether that's done. So there we are, that's the final painting. I hope you enjoyed watching me do that and that you give it a try yourself. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, it's great fun. All the materials are listed in the description below. If you don't know where the description is underneath the video, on your phone there's a little downward pointing arrow on the right hand side just underneath the picture of the video itself. When you click on that, a whole bunch of information opens up underneath there. YouTube have hidden it really very well, and a lot of people don't even know that that information is there. So go and explore that. Also have a look at the community tab where we also put information, and of course don't forget our website dianeantone.com, where you will find traceables from almost all the videos that we've done so far, hundreds of them, and prints for sale and originals are going up. I'm going to be starting to sell the original paintings that have been made for these videos, so if you want to grab a bargain and an original of mine, that would be a great place to start looking soon, coming soon to the website. So I'll say goodbye for now. Hope you enjoyed that. Give it a go and I'll see you again here soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. So bye bye for now everybody. Bye bye.